Hi, friends. Little talk through Huck Finn 15 and 16. Two chapters that are trickier than you think they might be. You may start hearing a snoring dog in the back of this because he is dreaming of rabbits right now. Just to remember where we stand in the world, it's June, which means we have about 3 weeks left. First draft of history is done. There are only going to be 4 assignments to it. If you haven't done them, might as well do them. Um, we have grades of pass with distinction, pass, and fail. And so for pass with distinction, you need to do first draft of history. But remember, it doesn't need to be written. The college poster is due Friday. The college essay is coming up. I'll post the college essay at some point. I've kind of filled the stream with all sorts of assignments, so I'm trying to just slow that roll down. And Huck Finn. In many ways, Huck Finn, at the end of chapter 16, kind of ends the first third of the book. And then after that, there are a couple amusing moments that are kind of and very fitting in these days. So that's there. So Huck Finn, the chapters that you're reading now, you don't need to read as thoroughly as you needed to read these guys. So let's talk about chapter 15. In chapter 15, they're in the middle of fog. Huck pulls a stupid prank. He leaves Jim alone on the raft and he paddles off with his boat and he sleeps in his boat. And then he comes back and Jim's like, "Where have you been? Oh, it was all storm, all the things like that." Now, it was a bad storm. And Huck is out in front of the raft, making sure the raft doesn't get stuck on towheads, which are fallen trees that are under the river and are sticking up. So he's doing a pretty important job, and it's a pretty massive storm. And the raft, now remember, the raft is not like a little 10 by 10 piece of wood. The raft is something that's the size of a football field. So it's going to get scary and ugly on the raft, but if you're in the center of it, this isn't really as big a problem. And there's going to be a lot of crap that's going to wash up on the raft. So either way, at the end of that, Huck paddles back, hops onto the thing, and sees Jim knocked out of sleep. And so he lies down in front of Jim, and Jim's like, "Oh, where you been? I thought you were gone forever. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And Huck's like, "Been here forever." And it's just kind of like, and then at the end of it, Jim's like, "You don't play these pranks on me. This is stupid. Don't do this." And Huck's like, "Yeah, I guess it was." So let's just go through this thing a little quickly. What does the prank hurt Jim? Jim's a runaway slave. Jim is a runaway slave, and everything about his life depends on Huck. So that's the first part. The second part is that Huck pranking Jim goes back, takes the relationship back and forth. So now it's the white boy trying to pick on the black guy. And the black guy supposed to roll along with him and be like, "Oh," just like when they did the hairball thing and took the left the money and started Tom Sawyer and Huck did the Harry Connick back in the second chapter. So they're expecting him to sort of play role as a clown. And he's like, "I'm over this. Do something." And of course, he's in bed. Why does Huck do it? Well, I think part of it is that he's 12, 13 years old, and he's stupid, and he wants to do something stupid and funny, and he thinks people prank some people because they're stupid and funny, it'll work. That's one way. Another thought could be that Huck, in the end of 14, with the Solomon argument, is starting to realize that Jim isn't treating him like he's the owner anymore, and he's the whiteboard he needs to make a cane. Jim's treating him like a equal. And so Huck's treating Jim like an equal. And there's a part of him, I think, that's a little uncomfortable with this. So pulling the prank is a way of reasserting control. So I think that's kind of what he's doing right here. I don't know if the text supports that, except for the psychological read, but I think that's reasonable to say. Why does Jim react to it? Jim reacts to it. He thinks it has to be. So he's not going, he plays the routine a little bit. Then he's like, "Yeah, that's it." And he's laughing. And the fact that Jim can, at this most period of time, react to that or tells us after Jimmy says it's Now, chapter 16 has an interesting moment where Huck is guilt-ridden because he's helping Jim escape. Now, just because I've got the magical Negro model in my head, Huck has screwed up in a massive way. The massive way he screwed up is that they are no longer along the Illinois shore. They are now in slave country on both sides. So, massive screw up. So he's sort of realizing Jim's humanity too late, right? Just too late. Again, Mark Twain wrote a book where there are no happy endings. Everything happens bad, and this is one of them. All right, so he thinks about turning him in because socially he's been programmed. His role is that black people are slaves and they are owned by people, and you need to return things to their own, just as if Jim was a stolen car and you'd want to return that stolen car to its owner. So he is his training, his mindset is bringing him back to that. He doesn't because his training isn't that good, and he understands that Jim is a person, and Huck's great strength is that he can recognize what's happening in front of him. And so he looks at this and he says, oops, not here. The smallpox thing I think is interesting, and this may just be my own little theory, but the smallpox thing is that now Huck is getting much better at his lies. So the lie here is he knows the white people he's talking to are not good people. He knows they're bad, evil people. And so when they see the black guy on the raft, they're like, ooh, money. Or they see the guy there. So when Huck finally gets his moment of conscience, he talks about smallpox. And he knows these people are not going to help them if they have smallpox. They don't want to catch smallpox. So they're like, nope, going to go away. Nope, going to go away. So I just think he's getting better at his lies. All right, so this is an original illustration. This is an illustration of the first version of Huck Finn. So this is a Mark Twain approved illustration. And so I want to just point, and it's of course, chapter 15. I want to point this one out because Jim is big. Jim's a big guy. So you can't think of him as a boy. You have to think of him as a 34, 35-year-old man. And the second thing is that he's in despair. All right, this isn't just like, oh, I'm sad, oh, I'm napping. This is, I am screwed. I am so screwed. There's nothing good that's going to happen to me. Everything is bad. He is in deep despair on this raft. And this is because Huck has left him. So this is something Huck doesn't understand, but the reader should understand. That's just the thing that's so important in this book is the error. When I read an error and people come up with the error is people keep looking at stuff. This, and it didn't come up as big as I wanted to, this is the map of the book. So the book so far has been from here to here. Chapter 15, they pass Cairo. So in 16, they're here. Here, I'll put a little dot. So that means Kentucky's on. Problem when they try and get back on a $20,000. So yeah, it's a problem. so here's some good
Whoopsie.
homework. And I just want to hit them fast. So here is a good point about Huck. Huck doesn't have empathy for black people. He wasn't raised to see people equally. Absolutely correct. And so you can't assume that Huck is going to suddenly magically switch and be like, yeah, Jim's a person just like me. No, he's going to go back and forth and he's going to have his doubts and it's not going to work out perfectly. And honestly, for the rest of the book, it's still kind of fuzzy until the very end when Huck's like, no, this is all disgusting. Let's send him home and I'll free him. I like this. I'm so mad. Huck, kid really knows how to push people's buttons. Because I think that's he doesn't understand. And this is actually when we look around now, we look at some of the Black Lives Matter protests that have like all white people in them. There's a point there where it's like the heart's in the right place, but maybe they don't understand as much as they could. And the same thing is here. It's like, you know, I mean, let me flip that back to Black Lives Matter. I was watching a tweet. There's a whole white group at some place in Connecticut that was kneeling and, you know, saying his name and doing stuff like that. And the commenter said, but are you going to send your kids to a school that gets people bussed in? It's like, okay, you know, prove it. And that's kind of where Huck is. Huck is like, yeah, you're right. Black Lives Matter, absolutely. And then how's it going to change my life? And that's where he doesn't really know what to do. So this is a person who kind of got it wrong, but got it wrong in an interesting way. He was. They're not, just because Jim is the father doesn't mean it's his kids. His kids were sold. So it looks crazy. It looks crazy to us, and Twain wants it to look crazy. He wants everyone to recognize how crazy it is. But that was the mentality that people were living with. Last but not least, this is a nice discussion of norms. So, and where Huck goes against the social norms. Why are his social norms wrong? Honestly, he was such a drunken and nasty and horrible person. He wasn't able to sort of fit the norms in. My last picture. Whereas the aunts and the widow, had they been there, they would have fit the norms in. It would have been fine. They would have figured it out. All right, so here is Moby. Moby is sleeping on Ruth's lap. He's snoring. He's up a wonderful time. You guys have a good time this afternoon and have some ice cream. Bye.